to the King James Virgin, where each and every week my friends Alan and Adam recount Bible stories from their childhoods to me. I've never heard them before. My name is Nick.
I'm Alan.
My name is Adam.
And we're back.
Finally getting to Samuel.
Three episodes later.
Yeah.
So if you'll remember, we were like, hey, we'll do a two-parter on Samuel.
This is 4 episodes later.
Is it 4 episodes?
This is the 4th. There's 3 in between.
Yes.
So we did tiny baby Samuel like a month and a half ago. And then we did...
Got to a crazy cliffhanger.
Yes.
Sort of. We got to Adam falling out of a swing, and then we just put it on pause. Then we went to the tabernacle, and then Bible battle brackets, and the ark.
Ark was in there, yeah.
And now we're back.
Yeah.
Do you? I'm not going to give you.
I feel so prepared now. I feel more prepared now.
Do you remember
for this
anything from the
episode.
tabernacle or the ark?
I remember very much about the tabernacle and the ark. I don't remember anything about Samuel.
Great,
Which is funny because in like rethinking about the story, we never really talk about the ark or the tabernacle again.
No, but it was a good time to like. No, we're just about to talk about the ark.
The ark a little bit.
Glad we did that.
Yep.
Fun little side quest.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, it made sense. It didn't, but
This is funny because, as an aside, Adam and I are playing a video game together right now where, for the most part, it's just like, skip the story, skip the story, skip the story, skip the story, kill. Ooh, this is fun. Let's run around here. Ooh, did this. Skip the story, skip the story, skip the story.
And then halfway through, like, what is happening? Why are we going over here?
Yeah.
Oh, right. We skipped the story. I don't know.
So that's where we are. I'm like a level, 60, and I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
all right. So tiny little Adam is wandering around the temple in his little bathrobe that his mom made.
With a giant gash in the back of my head.
And God says, Samuel, Samuel. And that's where we left it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we
3
said-
times.
Well, I think we said what he did. Or eventually says like, speak, Lord, thy servant hear you.
Yeah. But then we left out before the actual prophecy.
I think we actually did say the...
Well, let's do it again.
Okay, the actual prophecy was, Eli, you done fucked up. You raised bad kids. Your lineage ends here, and they are going to die before you.
Because if you remember, Eli is old and blind and probably like retired. So his 2 sons are now the high priests.
Right. So God is saying this to Samuel
To tell to Eli.
to tell to Eli.
Because he's already tried to tell Eli, and Eli was just like, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I'll take care of it.
He's also, I think Alan mentioned in the first Samuel that like the word of the Lord was like quiet in these days. Like it was uncommon for God to speak to people, which it hadn't been in the past apparently, and is now, I assume. We'd also failed to mention, I believe, the names of his sons, which are Hophni. I always heard it as Hophni, but it's Hoph, right?
Yeah.
So Hophni? Hophni and
The
Phin-
Hoff.
Yeah, the Hoff and Phineas.
Great.
So Hoff and Finn, the adventures of Hoff and Finn.
Well, it is kind of fun because it's like parents who do
It's
theme.
like Starsky and Hutch.
The Adventures of Hoff and Finn.
Well, parents who do theme names.
Yeah.
Like they went with like a PH theme.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah. It's
And
cute.
Hophni and Phineas are assholes. They abuse their power. They completely disregard all of the rabbinical law about being a rabbi or being a priest.
Which is all ingrained in them because they are the sons of...
Yes, they've lived literally in and around the tabernacle their entire lives.
Well, and this is why we talked about the tabernacle. So you know how people bring like their choice meats to burn?
They'd be
Yes.
the people helping that process. Eating
But-
the bread in the
But what they
showbread.
do is they would take the best cuts for themselves
I forgot about
and
that.
then offer stuff to God.
And the dankest loaf.
Yeah.
So see now,
like the dankest like ribs of
Yeah,
the
sure.
sheep.
Yeah.
but see now you know like why that they're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to burn
Right.
that shit. But
So
they would eat
theoretically,
it.
those people's sins were not forgiven.
Ooh.
Theoretically.
The people who brought the best meat didn't get forgiven.
Correct.
Ooh, I like it.
Slap in the face.
Yeah. So that all happened, which I guess fine. That's eat the rich because presumably the rich had the best sheep.
Sure.
So
And maybe the most sinful.
yeah,
Or like just this poor shepherd who was just a really good shepherd.
that's true. There is that one off, which is sad. But I want to say there were some like sexual issues too. Like they
I
would
think
fuck
so,
on
like-
the ark and stuff like that.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, the something glory hole. I don't know.
Which is where we get the term glory hole.
It's not. You peek through and see the presence of the Lord.
Yes.
Those poles on the ark got to be for something.
yeah.
Ooh,
Hey, don't kink shame. People do what people do.
that's reasonable. But I'm so distracted now.
Anyway, Hoffman.
I'm less thinking of the pole going into somebody than I am them like flinging it upright and like working on their pole dancing in the fancy zone of the tabernacle.
Then my mind's the bad one because I'm definitely talking about fornicating somebody with that pole.
Sure, yeah.
That's where my brain was.
Or self.
Mm-hmm.
So they're bad guys with cool names.
I mean, maybe they just jerk off looking at cherubim.
Yeah.
They're really into just like
Ooh, like four-headed beasts.
yeah, like it's like Cthulhu porn.
By the light of the candle.
Yeah.
Candles.
Early Mango fans.
Oh, huge.
So yeah, we're establishing not great
guys.
Great.
And Eli's been warned about his sons
Multiple times.
Like, but what's he gonna do?
Well, maybe he's in discipline. I don't know. What you're a parent? What would you do?
Well, but they're like fully grown.
Your kids are just like
He's retired.
Your kids are little fuckers, right? Well, yeah, but they were presumably little fuckers all the way along.
That's probably true.
They were Dennis's the Menaces. Whatever that
You
plural
can't
is.
pluralize the Lone Ranger. That's a callback.
Yep. I think to the other Samuel episode. Anyway, so they're bad. They're priests, and
they're gonna die.
then they're gonna die.
Great movie tagline.
Yeah, they're bad. They're priests.
Wait,
they're
Nick,
gonna die.
Nick, you have the best like Mr. Movie Guy voice.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
They're bad. They're priests. And they're gonna die.
The Adventures of Hoff and Finn.
Coming this summer.
That's so good. Adam's more of like a shock jock, like morning radio.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, different strokes.
miss my calling.
Still time. There's still time.
I mean,
Oh yeah, those guys are like 80, and there's like yeah.
people might listen to this in the morning. Technically, this is the new radio. Sort of. Maybe not technically.
Not technically, but yes.
This is a lot of energy to be listened to in the morning.
So, as opposed to morning shock jocks.
Fair, absolutely fair.
So God doesn't specify when.
No,
He just
a
says
secret.
they're gonna die. Okay. Yeah. It's a secret.
Yeah, that's
They like
it's coming.
They live
Yeah.
till they're 99 and die in bed, and God's like, aha!
told you.
I win.
Told you.
Yeah.
Anyway, you remember how like, especially like during Saul and David, the Philistines are the big bad.
Yeah.
So still, they're not still since this is before, but like they are the big bad again. And they go to war with them as per usual. And one of the things that they do, as you'll remember from Raiders of the Lost Ark, they take the Ark to.
Hold on. Does Samuel tell Eli this?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We skipped right over. I totally got like hung up on that. Yes. Samuel reluctantly goes to Eli and he was like, hey, so what happened? And Samuel's like, I don't really want to say.
Well, because remember,
I'm a
that
10-year-old.
Well, that whole thing,
Right.
like Samuel kept coming to Eli and waking him up, being like, "I'm here. What do you need?" And
Yeah.
finally, Eli was like, "Yeah, it's probably God. Why don't you just stay in your bed?" Which was probably him just being like, "Just let me
off."
sleep."
Yeah.
And so the next morning, he's like, "So God say anything?"
And he's like, yeah.
Did you guys talk about me?
Yeah. Samuel's reluctant, but finally drags it out of him. And Eli just kind of accepts it. Like, he's like, yeah, that's fair.
He says, "It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him."
Great.
You know, like, fuck.
Yeah.
My chickens have come home to roost.
There's also this like weird throwaway line next before the ark business. So it's right after that. And it says, "So Samuel grew and the Lord was with him and let none of his words fall to the ground."
So people listen to him?
I guess. Sounds like just like a impertinent know-it-all.
Yeah.
Everything he says is from God.
There's a King Arthur movie starring Clive Owen and Keira Knightley from the early 2000s. You guys vaguely remember this?
Nope. You're on your own with this one.
Well, shit. There is the person, it's not Merlin, but it's supposed to be the person that Merlin was fashioned after, because it's supposed to be like this, the quote unquote real telling of the Arthurian legend.
The real Merlin.
Yeah, the real gritty one.
Got it.
And this guy who's supposed to be is played by Stellan Skarsgård, and it's just got this like just gnarly ass beard, and Stellan Skarsgård like peak not giving a shit. That's who I feel like Samuel looks like, because he's got like the crazy long hair. Like he just like,
I'm going to choose to picture Samuel as my Merlin, Stellan Skarsgård, hashtag not my Merlin. And my Merlin has a long white beard, a gray robe, a gray hat, and sings little ditties.
You're from Sword in the Stone?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what makes the world.
Whoa. We're going to get sued.
Oh,
That was less It was not accurate. So,
But anyway, Eli just accepts it.
Okay.
Samuel grows up.
Yeah.
And then Hophni and Phinehas are still the high priesties.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's got to be the high priest. They can't both be.
the co-high priests.
Whatever. It's like those movies that are directed by two people. I don't really understand how that works. So there's this battle, and you know how in like when they're describing to the FBI agents how the Israelites would take the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
Right,
cutting you back.
Got it.
They take the Ark and they have that picture of like the glory of God like shining out or whatever,
Sure,
like
yeah,
leveling
yeah.
mountains. So that's the idea. They're bringing the Ark. They're like, haha, suck on our Ark.
Well, sort of. They actually they lose real bad first.
Oh yeah. Oh, they lose first?
Yeah, so they go into battle and
Oh, that's right. And Hophni and Phinehas like run back like, let's grab the Ark.
the Israelites lose 4,000 people. And they're like, why has the Lord defeated us today before the Philistines? Like, why'd we lose, guys? Let's bring the Ark.
And then they start skiing Hutch the Ark to the battlefield.
Great.
Get it there, and they proceed to lose again.
Well-
horribly.
So here's the best part, though. It was like the reverse of their intentions. So they bring the Ark into the camp, and all the Israelites are like, fuck yeah! Like the Israelites shouted so loudly that the earth shook. Now, when the Philistines heard the noise, they said, what does this mean? And they find out that the Ark is coming to the camp, and the Philistines are like, they said the Philistines were afraid. God is coming to the camp. Woe to us, for such a thing has never happened before. Woe to us. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? And then they say, be strong and conduct yourselves like men, you Philistines, that you do not become servants of the Hebrews as they have been to you. Conduct yourselves like men and fight. So
Bootstrap yourself.
to me, this is like in like those high school football movies.
Yes.
So the coach comes into the team you're rooting for and gives this rousing speech.
Yeah.
But the other team hears it as well and like,
Oh, shit.
oh fuck guys, that was a good speech. We better play extra hard.
Right.
And
Yes.
then they win.
Totally.
And just cream
It's here's my once a quarter basketball reference.
Yes.
Chris Paul entering the other team's huddle without any of them noticing.
That's more of a Gideon thing, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I don't know most of those words. Great.
I understood the words. I consecutively less understanding. Yeah. So they lose horribly. Hophni and Phinehas are.
The Philistines don't believe in this God.
You know what? I was going to say no.
They're kind of pantheists.
Like
They're
growing-
like, oh, their God's pretty kick-ass because they reference God doing
yeah.
the plagues in Egypt. They're like, oh, their God's pretty cool, man. We better watch out.
In retrospect, like having some space from this.
Yeah.
Growing up, I always saw the Israelites as the good guys and everybody else as the bad guys, just because that's the way it was presented and that's the way my
It's
brain works.
absolutely the opposite.
It's it could be definitely considered the opposite, but really the definitive difference is that the Israelites' God just said, you can't have any other gods. I am the one. And everybody else was like, we're fine with your God too.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically the idea between like the modern Christian church and then like the coexist sticker people. Well, can't we just all like, be
it's
fine if you're a Buddhist and he's a Hindu?
It's
like,
very
I don't
much
care.
the struggle that's still going on in the region.
Oh yeah. And really throughout the world.
The Israelites came into the region and there were people there with their own gods. And the Israelites were like, well, our God told us this is ours now. So fuck off. And your God's not real.
Yeah.
And we're better.
Although-
and they're just like, hey, we were here first. And
To be fair, though,
your God's fine, but like, be cool.
The current war is between two people worshiping the exact same God.
Well, I mean,
they-
there's that.
But
Weird how that happened.
I mean, that's Abraham.
What happened to Baal
Yeah.
Whatever
Hashtag not
happened to
not my God.
and Dagon?
Yeah.
Where's Dagon?
Oh, I bet there's some Dagon worshippers out there someplace.
We do get to Dagon a little later in the story.
Yeah.
Did you get to Dagon? Okay. I liked it.
I would love to do a future episode on those.
like
Baal and Dagon?
Yeah.
lesser
Where
gods
are
of the
they
Bible.
now?
Yeah, where are they? Checking in.
Yeah.
That is a great. Those are always my favorite.
Today we have Baal in the studio.
Thanks, Delilah.
Oh. So it's actually Delilah from Samson Delilah interviewing.
Oh,
All right.
This is too many radio references.
Where are we? Oh yeah. So Hophni and Phinehas are mowed down in the
great.
battle.
Pause again. So time has passed. Is Eli still with us?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Great.
Hold
But his
that-
sons are kind of in charge.
Yes. So basically he retired but is still alive.
Great. Okay.
Hophni and Phinehas mowed down and the Philistines like, hey, free Ark. And
Yeah,
also,
rad.
fuck you, we're taking your symbol and
Yeah.
fucking off back to
Hey, what's in here? Oh, just some rock.
Philistonia?
Take it anyway.
where are the Philistines from?
Philostonia.
Where are the Philistines from?
Yeah.
Philist?
Nailed it. Philostonia, turns out. No, it's not that, but who cares?
I was for half a second I was like, he's fucking with me, and then it went to, oh, he's serious, because also that totally could be the name of the location, and then it's like, oh no, I'm back to he's fucking with me. Regardless, they take it back to Philostonia, and a messenger comes to Eli and goes, bad news, dude. Your sons have died in battle, and to add salt to that wound that I just opened up in you, the Philistines have taken the Ark of the Covenant, which is literally this, like where God sits.
Yeah.
They took God's chair
They took God's chair.
and his bread and a stick.
Right. Although, does anybody else know that that's what's in there?
No one cares.
Okay. Or maybe in there.
I mean,
That might
if
be
I
where-
were them, I would kind of dump it out so it was easier to transport.
I'm going to go ahead and go on the record and say that I think that that's where Hophni and Phinehas kept their porn collection.
On rocks.
On
Their
rocks.
stone tablets.
In the,
They're dirty hieroglyphs.
ooh, that one looks kind of like a, anyway.
That was a joke, but there were some dirty hieroglyphs, so I guess that's not that weird.
Oh, people have been, as soon as they figured out how to write things down, people have been writing down sexy things.
Yep. And then so Eli hears this.
Yeah. And basically has a stroke or a heart attack and dies.
Well,
Whoa.
it's better. Eli fell off the seat backwards by the side of the gate. Of course he's at the gate.
Hey,
He's
more
at the
gate talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sitting like a cool guy at like on a chair.
But isn't he like blind and deaf?
And his
like,
neck was broken and he died, for the man was old and heavy. I'm like, oh, shade Bible.
Wow.
Like, they don't mention it up until the point he dies. They're like, well,
And he's fat.
he was fat, so
Right, yeah.
that's why he died.
That's also an obesity message. We're
Right.
just
Like,
throwing
hey.
it out there.
I was like, Bible, unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
So Samuel presumably is the only person left, and by de facto becomes king of the priesthood.
Okay.
So, Adam, do you remember anything about Phineas's wife?
No,
Because I didn't either, and it's such a fun little side story. So before we get to the fun shenanigans with the ark, at this same moment that the messenger told Eli, another messenger presumably told Phineas's wife. She
Can it
was
be the
pregnant.
same?
I'm just going to read it actually, because it's I can't do better than the Bible does. Phineas's wife was with child, due to be delivered, and when she heard the news that the ark of God was captured, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself and gave birth, for her labor pains came upon her. And then this is a little confusing. And about the time of her death, say what now?
Right. Yeah.
The woman who stood by to her said, "Do not fear, for you have borne a son." So
she shat out a baby, died,
And died.
But as she's going,
It's the circle of life.
but literally as she's like fading from.
I'm
like,
sorry.
But then it says,
doesn't exist.
but she did not regard it.
Right.
She didn't answer. Then she named the child Ichabod, saying,
Oh.
the glory has departed from Israel. So that's fun.
That child
She
then
heard
went on to.
she's like, oh, everyone died.
that child then went on. His
name is Ichabod.
Like found New England basically,
Yeah, right.
and discovered the Headless Horseman.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
Right. Also,
you can do better.
I did not know that Ichabod was in the Bible.
You can do better.
What?
Damn.
It's all these people like we actually get that from Mormonism, because
Mormons.
when people die in the Bible, they go to America. Apparently,
Right. They take a hard left and
so far in America, we have Cain,
Right.
as Bigfoot, according to the Mormons.
Right.
We have Jesus,
Right.
goes to America.
but then reascended. Like he ascended up, came back down, and then went back up. Right?
Yeah, it was more of like a he just went the jet stream.
Oh yeah.
He took the
Oh, it's like that sky
Learjet.
skipper that Boeing was. Do you guys remember this? So right before the housing crisis, Boeing was about to launch their sky skipper, and it was the idea that you could basically get anywhere in the world in like 2 hours. It launches straight up, and then literally like a stone on a like smooth lake would skip across the atmosphere and then plunge back down.
It's got to be a pleasant ride.
Oof.
Well, apparently it was supposed to be pretty impressive, but you could like get to the other side of the world in 2 hours because you just like the takeoff and landing were the two long parts.
Anyway, so that's the very short tale of Ichabod, which I also did not realize was a biblical name.
No.
Right.
All these fun names like Phineas and Ichabod.
Phineas is interesting that like, because usually the people who are shits, their names die and they like, you never hear from them again. But like Phineas survived.
Well, in like a
Hophni
biblical
didn't.
tradition, it would be weird to be like, and you shall be just like Phineas
Right.
I mean,
and die.
Go forth and frat yourself away.
this is the start of any YA book where, like, first of all, in any good story for children, one parent has to die.
Of course.
And so at the beginning of the book, both of Ichabod's parents, Phineas and unnamed mother,
Right.
die.
Right.
Him in battle, in war, and her in childbirth, and then Ichabod is now the hero of our book.
Yeah.
Totally.
That it just sounds like a YA novel.
It does. 100. It'd be a sword and sandal. Like, yeah.
But we never hear from Ichabod again.
Nor do we know his mom's name.
Nope.
That poor woman. Back to the Ark.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ark is in
Philostonia.
and it's there for like, I think it's like 7 months. It's not long.
So you mentioned that, and I could not find it anywhere, but something happens on day one.
Hold on a second.
They brought it into the house of Dagon, and they set it up right by Dagon.
Ooh.
All
I'm
right.
so happy we're back to Dagon.
Oh,
Did you not remember that part?
I doesn't it crumble?
Yeah. So they bring the Ark home.
God fight. God fight.
Yeah.
They bring the Ark home. They put it in their temple because they're like, yeah, this is where you put God shit.
Yeah.
And they come in the next morning, and Dagon, their statue, had fallen on his face.
Oh.
So they
Put it back up.
Ah, man. They put the statue back up, come back in the next morning, fallen on his
over.
face.
I like to think that there's just like some guy in there. Like,
And
Yeah, sure.
the second night, the head and
I'm going to make them think this thing is haunted.
and I would have gotten away with it too. But the second time, his head and his hands are broken off, and they were like, "Yeah, it's too much."
which also like,
That's what would happen if a statue
I
falls.
was gonna say the statue falls like 3 times.
That just seems like
The
physics.
arms and the heads are gonna fall off. Like
Yes.
that's anyway. So a bunch of things happen, and I really think it's like 7 months. And the Philistines give it back. They're basically like, "Fuck this thing. It's cursed. You take it back."
So after the Dagon falling and breaking,
There's no black market yet, apparently.
the whole area, all the men are struck with tumors. And
It's not a tumor.
And so they're like, no, it is tumors. And so they're like, oh, fuck, man, give it to Gath. And then all of Gath gets tumors. And so they're like, we don't want it. Give it to Ekron. And then all of Ekron gets tumors.
We didn't
so
actually
like, give
think-
it back.
You know how they were like, it was all acacia wood and covered in metal. Are we sure it wasn't uranium?
Yeah.
Or that they were storing like something like that inside.
Right. Like
Yeah.
it just
Turns out that's why it glowed.
right. It wasn't the presence of God. Literal just radiation.
Yeah. Damn.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
And see, we're just hitting on this is a more interesting story.
100%.
And the Israelites are immune to it because they've been traveling with it so long.
Turns out was it the little boy? The first was actually the Ark of the Covenant slamming into Hiroshima.
Jesus.
That's just another Indiana Jones plot line.
Oh, that's combining like 2 or 1 and 4.
So, there it is. Now the Ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines for 7 months.
They don't even know what the name of it was.
Nailed it. The country of the Philistines, Philostonia,
Philostonia.
or just Phyllis.
Phyllis. Oh, I like that. Phyllis.
Yeah, the country of Phyllis.
That's where we get Phyllises. Mm-hmm. All the Phyllises.
Do
are
you
from there.
remember the protocol for giving the Ark back?
There's protocol? No.
Okay, I'm just gonna take it
Yeah,
over.
take it.
I imagine that it's just like a ding dong ditch situation, right?
Yeah. Or like a Trojan horse. Like this
Trojan horse. Or, I mean, they got to get a good one in too, right? Like they want to give it back, but also like put shit in there and light it on fire.
Right.
Okay, well,
Yes.
you guys are both right in a less interesting way, but it's funnier. So they're like, okay, how the hell do we give this thing back? And they like send out messengers and they get a response back. And they're like, well, you're going to need to add an offering back to it. You're going to need to fill it with some good shit. You can't just give it back. Mm-hmm. And so
How are they touching it?
I have no idea.
Sorry, just
And so what they're told to put in it are 5 golden tumors and 5 golden rats.
was rats one of the things
The
that
rats
happened?
corresponded with like the leaders of the Philostonia. But
They're just like, hey, we've been real rats about this.
they're like,
let's
yeah, we're going to need you to fill it full of gold tumors and rats. Again, they definitely did not tell us this part as children because we'd have been like, no.
Right. Yeah.
wait, tumors and rats?
Also, is that just like a
Ball?
like a rock?
Now, kids,
nugget.
here's
It's a gold nugget.
Here's a drawing
It's
of
a
the
tumor.
Here's a
Not
drawing.
a tumor.
Here's a drawing of the empty ark. I want you kids to draw the rats.
That would have totally been like
That was cool.
like an art project. Yeah.
Oh, you're short a couple of tumors.
Remember, it's 5 tumors.
One for each finger.
So 5 tumors and 5 golden rats. Make a new cart. Take 2 milk cows, which have never been yoked, and hitch the cows to the cart.
Wait,
take their
a
calves
new
home
cart?
away from them.
Oh, you gotta love that new cart smell.
Take the Ark of the Lord, set it on the cart, put the articles of gold, which you're returning as an offering, in a chest by its side, then let it go. So new cart,
Yeah.
milk cows,
Slap the cows.
let it go, and it'll take it home. And it did.
Presumably it did, or somebody just found it.
But then a little bit to answer your question, Adam. So apparently the men of Beth Shemesh, because they'd looked into it, he killed 50,070 of them because they took a peek.
Wait,
That's the little tag at the end of the story.
did that mean 50,007 looked into it and died? Or does that mean that like
Then
one
he
guy
struck
looked?
the men of Beth Shemesh because they had looked into the Ark of the Lord. He struck 50,070 men of the people.
Either Beth Shemesh was a giant ass
And they were sad.
city at that time.
Or people were coming from all over the place
It's
to
like,
get a
you
glimpse
gotta
of
look at this thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
If you capture
Or it is like, back to your thing, like a sword in the stone type
Yeah.
of situation. Like, he who can gaze upon this, like, I bet I can do it. I can do it without dying.
I'm saying it's like a traveling sideshow thing where like you capture this gold box full
Right.
of rocks, old bread, and a stick.
Although
You're gonna like have people like pay a shekel to
Absolutely.
walk by and look into
die.
it. Well, they die eventually and all at once.
Oh, is that how?
They don't die like one, but like no one leaves the tent.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. Like,
That's what I was imagining.
yeah, it's like people like touching it, dying. There's like piles of people around, and people are like, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
That is funnier.
I mean,
It's actually just a cliff, and they just push the bodies off.
there's just a guy with a stick that's just like, meh,
It's
pushes him over.
it's the vaudeville cane.
You're done. It's such a weird, like, it's such a throwaway line in here. It's a one-line thing. Like, he killed 50,000 people. The God, but he, by the way, is God in this scenario.
It's capitalized, yeah.
Because the surprise, the milk cows didn't take it right back to the tabernacle. Apparently,
No, they did.
Oh,
This was just like an epilogue where like
on the way.
and one of the groups that he gave tumors also
see.
looked, and so he killed them all.
Got it. Oh, okay.
No, the milk cows took it
Yeah,
right
yeah.
back.
No, it's just like P.S. Those people that all had tumors, they did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they got like a mass. Anyway,
Tumor for you, tumor for you. It just keeps
God.
getting passed town to town, and they all get tumors, which again does sound like it's radioactive.
yes, it does. I was gonna say like the what was that? There was that. It's movie time with Adam again. Is it K-19, the Widowmaker?
Always movie time with Adam.
Yeah. The Harrison Ford is a Russian, where they have a reactor breach basically. Like they basically draw straws to take turns bailing water, like manually hand pumping water through the reactor to keep it cool enough so it doesn't completely melt down. And like like people know that they're gonna die if they go into this chamber. And so it's like their hand, but like them coming out and watching like radiation poisoning when you've like had a massive dose in a short amount of time was just disgusting. And so that's what I'm thinking of is all these people just like getting sick and dying.
That seems like a movie that dads would really like.
Probably. It was handled surprisingly gently.
You got some war.
It's
you
coming
got
for you, Alan.
submarines.
You're gonna
you
love
got
it
Harrison
soon.
Ford.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a dad movie.
Yeah, and it was like
Oh, what's the dad movies of our generation? Is it like superhero movies?
Dad movies, I feel like they're the bro-y comedies from, like 5 years
No,
ago.
because it has to be movies.
Step Brothers and
It would need to be movies that like are coming out now that I would want to watch.
What do
Because
you wanna-
dads are into like if,
What do you
if
wanna
like a
watch?
Nazi movie comes out.
Yeah. Let's take a poll of the dads. Alan, what do you want to watch?
I mean,
what trailers have you seen? You're like, I'd see that if I didn't have kids.
I'm still in the Disney movie phase right
Right.
now, so I have no idea what current movies there are.
The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is the dad movies now.
Except for
apparently.
you've watched it and I have not watched it.
That's a you will.
Not really. I think we started the episode and like turned it off halfway through it.
Oh. Anyway, let's we can breeze through the rest of Samuel's life basically because most of it we've covered with Saul and David.
Okay.
Samuel becomes
Any Seth Rogen movie.
yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
that's what it is.
I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at.
yeah,
yeah.
so Nick's not wrong.
I mean, and maybe like the stupid like SEAL Team 6 movies that come out and stuff like that.
Actually, no, fuck that. The one trailer that I have seen recently that I'm like, I would kind of like to see that was actually a Seth Rogen movie.
There you go.
Of the one
The
where
pickle one?
the pickle one.
Yeah.
Because I saw that, I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to see that when it comes available.
Have you seen the trailer? It's on Netflix right now.
It looks.
It is
looks
Seth Rogen,
cool.
turn of the century immigrant from, I think, Poland, gets a job in a pickle factory, falls into the brine, and is presumed dead, but is actually pickled and is brought back now. And his grandson,
100 years later.
yeah, his grandson, also played by Seth Rogen, they basically have to interact with each other, and so it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
as-
sounds like a dad movie.
It does look pretty stupid.
I mean, it looks funny.
Sure.
It looks like the Seth Rogen funny.
So there you go. Nick nailed it.
Eat shit.
Maybe dad movies now are just like any David Chang food special.
That's very specific, Dad. Oh, we
Yeah,
have
too
we have
niche,
we
too
have-
niche.
we have
Really,
Dad-
but like name a single person our age, like a guy that you talk to regularly that doesn't like get really excited when they talk about David Chang.
I feel like I have a very specific audience of friends.
Maybe. I'm just saying.
listeners of the KJV pod.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Weigh in here.
What do you think the new dad movies
Hey,
are?
young dads.
Or about to be dads or have been dads for a bit.
Legitimately curious.
I also do think that I think that Harrison Ford movies are still
Still dad
dad
movies?
movies.
I'm so not interested in
That's just
anything
because-
Harrison Ford does.
but that's
You
just
did
because,
that
like-
dog movie.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
Pass.
Also, do you know the reason it's all CG is because they like Harrison Ford said, I must sleep in my own bed every night. So they shot it on green screens.
But I don't even think that it's like it has to be new Harrison Ford movies. I think that those like canon movies will still just be the ones.
Sure.
Is that just like an Arrested Development thing where like dads of our generation still haven't grown up because their dads are still kicking it?
Maybe.
I mean,
Like if they had died, we'd been like,
I feel like this is a controversial opinion, but I'm not a big Harrison Ford fan.
Maybe like
He's fine.
I like a couple of his characters.
Fast and Furious movies. Those be the dad movies of the new generation.
Yeah, because it's all about family.
Those are just
Oh, there you. Oh, perfect.
and those are just superhero movies. So my statement stands.
I'd push back on that. They're not, well,
Paul Walker not made of steel.
Ooh,
not good at driving either.
No.
Turns out. Oh,
Harsh.
too soon? Probably.
audience, let us know if that was too soon. Add us on Twitter.
Yeah, so basically, if you want to let us know about what you think dad movies are, Dear Jesus at kingjamesvirgin.com, send a voice memo, or tweet it to us at KJVpod.
And I legitimately want to know.
So Samuel grows up. He actually turns out to be just as bad of a father as Eli does, and his kids are little shits as well. And so, but instead of God going, Samuel, you didn't get your shit together, the tribes get together and go, yeah, we need to stop having this be a lineage thing. We want a king. Everybody else has got a king. We want a king. Mm-hmm. And Samuel's like, no, you can't have a king because I'm the priest and I'm in power. And they're like, well, we want a king. And he goes like, I want to ask God. And God's like, yeah, they're going to get a king. He's like, fuck. And so
I think it was more like the people were like, yeah, we don't want priests anymore. We want a king. And Samuel's like, well, if you want a king, I'm going to choose him.
well, and
So it'll be my king.
that's literally what happens. So he goes and
Hashtag not my king.
right. And I want to say that like Saul was like either digging a ditch or like hauling a mule or doing some sort of like manual labor. And he was close to Samuel's house and went over to Samuel to get like ask for a rope or something. And Samuel's like, oh, that's the fucking king right there.
Well, Nick, do
Whoa.
you remember this starts the Samuel chooses hot young
Hot boys.
Yes.
like oily boys.
Well,
Absolutely.
they didn't start oily. He made them oily.
Yes.
Yeah. Samuel's got a type.
Yeah, so he dumped the oil over their heads, gets them all slick, and then he
is
wrestles them with a watermelon.
It is a little weird how like it gets specifically into how hot these young boys are.
He likes them hot boys. The whole thing with Saul goes down. He then, obviously becomes an opponent of Saul, and and eventually goes like, well, I fucked up on number 1, so let's get number 2. And he finds David and
Which we've covered.
dunks oil over him, wrestles him with the watermelon, and then basically he dies. Not long after that. Oh, we kind of skipped over. Most of his life is spent trying to dismantle all of these shrines and altars to other gods.
Okay.
That's most of what he does in his lifetime, right?
Yeah,
Right.
bringing people back to the one
Trying to get them.
true God.
Which I think I was looking at the Wikipedia page about it, and I didn't realize the way it was always described to me was that like the gods were an external force that were always being forced upon them, but Asherah, which is one of the main gods, was consistently was being concurrently worshipped in Israel by Israelites in households, and that's what he was fighting, was essentially like this internal struggle of like one true God versus
Well, Israelites were worshiping Baal. I mean, it was a bunch of disparate people.
Yeah.
So whatever the local thing was, they were into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got their own team.
And it was just this old white bearded man being like, no,
Not that one.
only one God for you.
Not that one either.
And you can't have statues of it.
No, take him down.
And so you alluded to this in the Ark episode, but this is the first time that the Ark goes missing, or the second?
Well, so it's not in within Samuel's lifetime. I don't think that the second time it goes missing. This is the first time.
Okay,
This is
we
the
will
first
get
time.
to the second time.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
We've sort of gotten there. It's Babylon.
yeah. It's when it gets taken to Babylon.
Pre-Daniel.
Right.
Or Daniel.
Right. Okay, got it.
There's
Remember,
one
it's in the room with all the cups.
Yes.
There is one other time that it's moved.
Okay.
David gets a bee in his bonnet and is like, I'm gonna move the ark. Well, I move the whole temple, right?
Yeah, the temple, because we've talked about the temple is at
Shiloh.
Shiloh, and it eventually moves to another a medium place, like not a medium. What's the word I want?
Escrow.
Intermediary place, escrow, and then to Jerusalem.
Got it.
Yeah, it works its way around.
Yeah.
But in that, there's a couple of fun stories in that.
Okay. I
But
might
there is
actually-
a fun story.
Yeah, we might actually do that soon because it's on my mind.
Yeah, we got to finish it up. But yeah, Samuel then passes away, and I feel like there's something special about his grave or the way he dies or something. It's not like
He didn't fall off a gate
Elijah.
because he was fat.
right, or he didn't like
Fall off a chair.
Gate. He was sitting on a gate.
Oh, I thought he was.
chair by the gate. I think
Chair
he
by the
I think
gate.
he fell like 2 feet and broke his
Yeah,
neck.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
He's so fucking fat.
I don't think the fat man was sitting on the. This is not a Humpty Dumpty parable.
I just love that we keep like we are now fat shaming
Okay,
him.
fine. He fell off the seat backward by the side of the gate.
But he was so
Yes.
fat that he broke his neck.
Yeah, old and heavy. Geez, Bible.
I mean, maybe he had osteoporosis.
I mean, your weight is not going to do that much in terms of falling and breaking your neck.
depends on how you fall.
Yes.
He's also blind. Maybe someone put him on a real tall chair and he didn't know.
Maybe that also.
Everybody's just
he was
fucking with
also really into that thing, you know, where like
He was lifeguarding the gate.
martial artists will like do that backflip and then like they'll like back on.
Oh, yeah,
back
yeah.
up. He was trying to do that in surprise, but like missed his hands because they were stuck out to the sides.
And he's fat.
And he's fat.
Wild. Okay. Let's be done.
All right, I'm good.
Great.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. You can follow us at KJVPod on both Twitter and Instagram to keep up with what we're doing. Announcements. Every week we do a little promo on Instagram, shit like that. This week, since we're still in quarantine, why don't you tell a friend about the King James Virgin? Preferably
But
somebody.
not in person.
No. Unless you're 6 feet away from them wearing a mask, then you can just kind of like loudly say,
Yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
have you heard of the King James Virgin? Them boys do things.
Them boys do things.
It's not inaccurate. Preferably somebody that you think would like it, but that's not necessary. You can tell this. I mean, like we said last week, if you are listening to this and aren't enjoying it, you don't have. Please turn it off. But you know, if you want to,
Or tell someone that you know won't like it. Like
Oh.
your
Priest.
very religious father-in-law, or like that aunt who posts stuff on Facebook.
Yeah,
We could use more 1-star reviews.
that's true. Yeah, I would actually like a 1-star review with some content.
Okay.
Yeah, constructive feedback.
Here's the ask. Tell people to listen to us, please. A
Regardless.
friend, and say like, I enjoy this. Maybe you will enjoy it. And if you haven't already, you should rate and review us. Full stop. We don't need 1-star reviews
two
or
friends, one
angry
enemy.
ants from Facebook.
See, I'm kind of in this like I'm jumping on the polarizing train. I think like I don't want anybody who you think would like it. They either have to love it or hate it. Those are the polar.
Well, that's exactly how people rate things. I don't, who's coming in to rate it at
Yeah,
3.
I am that person. I'm like, this product was fine, and then they're like, why did you hate my products? I didn't. I gave it. It's above average.
I want 2 friends and 1 aunt.
Sounds like a porno. Thanks to Mascaras and Resurrection Records for the use for our theme song, Kicksari, off the album El Moran. And this week's Discord Records artist is Lungfish. So thank you for Discord for jumping in and letting us use that song. You can find links to these songs, to the $1 stickers we have for sale on our website, kingjamesvirgin.com.
That'll do it for us this week. Until next week.
In a world where statues keep falling over, blame 1 ark, 2 tablets, and 1 supreme being. Coming to video on demand, Christmas 2020. Rated R for oiled nudity.
You lay your hands on by Sonic Bazaar.